Lot and his 2 daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. One day, the older daughter said to the younger,
"Our father is old, and there's no man around here to give us children, as is the custom all over the earth. Let's give our father wine to drink, and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father."
That night, they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. The next day, the older daughter said to the younger,
"Last night I slept with our father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight. And you go in and sleep with him so we can preserve our family line through our father."
So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father.
Genesis 19:30-36, a tale which has appalled readers for centuries. It is indeed a sordid tale, shrouded in indecency. The tale of Lot and his daughters surely is one of sexual misconduct, to say the least. But we cannot discount it. The story is written for a profound reason, and to understand this reason, we must place the tale into its context.
The instance between Lot and his daughters most likely happened in the coming weeks after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, which most biblical scholars would put between about 1800 and 3000 years before Common Era.
Sodom and Gomorrah were 2 cities that were located on the Jordan River Plain in the south part of the land of Canaan.
The biblical account of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah describes how 2 angels arrive at the gate of Sodom, where Lot meets them and invites them into his home. The men of the city soon swarm Lot's house, and they demand for Lot to release his visitors so that they can have sex with them. Lot refuses, and instead offers his virgin daughters to the crowd. After this account, Lot and his family flee the city as it is destroyed.
This comes at a great cost to Lot's daughters. They are barely seen as human in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah because their sexuality is just something to be disposed of, to appease an angry mob. And I think this is something that should be very troubling to readers, and it's troubling to me that in church history this hasn't concerned people so much. I certainly think it's possible that because Lot treated his daughters with such a cavalier attitude, as though their bodies were just disposable and their sexuality meant nothing, I think that definitely informs the passage that we're looking at today, where Lot's daughters are willing to do anything to continue their family line. And even though we see incest is very wrong, it's obvious, it's repulsive, they don't seem to have that attitude, and I think it's because they have a distorted view of their own sexuality due to the way that Lot has treated them.
So is it likely that Lot's daughters behaved as they did because of Lot's actions in Sodom? Is Lot a bad man?
I certainly think Lot is a man of integrity, and I think that he was looking out for the best interest of his community. Lot is not aware of his actions. He doesn't even know when the first daughter has left and when she gets up in the morning. By most standard definitions, we would consider that to be pretty intoxicated.
He is indeed hospitable to his divine visitors, and since they are divine, it would seem necessary that he provides them with all of the protection necessary, that he would be willing to do anything to protect messengers from God.
This tale has often been interpreted as one of utter desperation.
The passage has been interpreted by church history in a pretty uniform way, simply that it's a very repulsive passage. Incest is something that is wrong, it's disgusting to us, and so even though the story doesn't overtly say Lot's daughters are behaving inappropriately, we can gather that through our reading of the passage.
I think Lot's daughters were motivated by desperation. They were living with just their dad. They had left their homes, and there were no other men around, so basically they were going to wander around until they died, or they were going to be able to have kids and have things carry on. There would have been other options, but they might have felt that there weren't any.
The story certainly captures the attention of its readers, but for what purpose? Why would a story of something so deeply disturbing be included without a clear indictment of the daughter's actions?
The theological purpose of this passage may have been to show a need in the Levitical laws for a prohibition of incestuous relations.
To achieve that purpose, the author of this story made specific rhetorical choices. One of those choices was to feature the older daughter as the only speaker of the story.
I find it an interesting rhetorical element that the older daughter is the only one to speak in the story, because we don't get a chance to hear what the younger daughter or what Lot himself has to say in the situation. So it's very one-sided when there are three people involved.
It's pretty evident that they understand that this approach is wrong, given that they have to bring wine into the picture not just once but on 2 occasions.
It is through the rhetorical structure of the narrative that we receive the slightest insight into the emotions of the daughters.
I don't think we get a chance to see or hear what the younger daughter was thinking, because the older daughter is the only one to speak. Was she pleased with her older sister's decision? Did she go along with it easy? Did her older sister have to convince her? That's a part of the story that we don't get a chance to find out. I think most likely they probably felt ashamed of it afterwards. And maybe not so much the older daughter, but the younger daughter might have felt, in my opinion, would have felt worse about it, because she wasn't necessarily on board with it to begin with.
There's only so much we can gather from analyzing the narrative, but one thing is clear. Lot's daughters are aware of the evil of their actions. They know what they do is wrong, yet they act out of sheer, raw, and nagging desperation. The tale is not pleasant. The motivations of the characters are questionable. But when we analyze the story, we come to discover the actions of people who are faced with turmoil, with strife, and with desperation, a desperation that is deeply human and dwells within us all.